A man serving life in prison for murder convinced his own trial judge that serious doubts about his guilt justified cutting his sentence. But the Supreme Court just shut that door. In a decision that could affect thousands of federal prisoners, the court ruled that even compelling evidence of innocence cannot be used to reduce a sentence through compassionate release. The decision leaves a troubling gap. Prisoners who may be innocent but missed legal deadlines have nowhere left to turn. Nine Robes uses non-partisan, everyday language to focus on the facts of what the Supreme Court is saying. Here, you'll find clear, concise summaries of every Supreme Court opinion, stripped of legalese and clickbait headlines. Each post breaks down the facts, explains the court's reasoning, and highlights the crucial details that often go unnoticed. It's not just about what the court decided, it's about why those decisions matter, to give you a deeper understanding of the cases that define our nation's legal landscape. These summaries are generated by AI. Be careful and consult reputable sources when in doubt. Joe Fernandez was convicted of murder for hire based largely on testimony from his co-conspirator, Patrick Darge. After exhausting the normal appeals process, Fernandez tried something different. He asked the judge to reduce his life sentence under a federal law allowing compassionate release for extraordinary circumstances. His argument was that serious doubts about whether he was actually guilty qualified as extraordinary. The judge who presided over his original trial agreed, saying he had real concerns about whether the verdict was correct, but an appeals court reversed that decision, and the Supreme Court sided with the appeals court in a 6-2-1 ruling. Fernandez's lawyers argued that compassionate release was designed as a safety valve, a way for judges to fix unjust results when rigid procedural rules get in the way. They pointed out that the law uses broad language and nothing explicitly bars judges from considering doubts about guilt. The government disagreed sharply. Prosecutors warned that allowing conviction challenges through compassionate release would create an endless loophole. Congress, they argued, deliberately built strict rules into the standard post-conviction process, including tight deadlines and limits on how many times you can file. Allowing prisoners to bypass those rules through compassionate release would erase those protections entirely. Justice Barrett, writing for the majority, held that doubts about guilt do not count as extraordinary and compelling reasons for compassionate release. The court reasoned that claims about whether someone should be imprisoned at all must go through the proper post-conviction process, not through other laws. Allowing a shortcut would let prisoners dodge the strict requirements Congress deliberately created. The majority also noted that compassionate release was designed for situations like terminal illness or old age, not for relitigating trials. Congress routed these requests through the Bureau of Prisons, an agency focused on prison conditions, not trial records. If a conviction is truly invalid, the court added, simply reducing a sentence by a few years does not actually fix the problem. Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justice Kagan, agreed Fernandez should lose, but for a simpler reason. She argued that compassionate release requires something new to have happened since sentencing. Because Fernandez's motion relied on facts known since his trial, with no new evidence, it should fail regardless of any connection to conviction challenges. She criticized the majority's approach as disconnected from what the law actually says and warned it could block legitimate requests for sentence reductions. Justice Jackson dissented alone. She argued the words extraordinary and compelling describe how strong a reason must be, not what kind of reason qualifies. Congress, she noted, only placed two express limits on what counts, and neither one excludes conviction-related concerns. She raised a critical concern. Under the majority's rule, a prisoner who is actually innocent but missed legal deadlines would have no path to relief whatsoever. The majority acknowledged this gap but did not resolve it. The practical impact is stark. Federal prisoners across the country can no longer use doubts about their guilt as grounds for compassionate release, no matter how serious or well-supported those doubts may be. The decision creates the troubling situation when a prisoner who is genuinely innocent but has exhausted or missed the standard post-conviction process has nowhere left to go. The deeper question the court left unanswered may prove most important. What happens to someone who is actually innocent but cannot satisfy the strict requirements of the standard post-conviction process? The majority acknowledged the problem but offered no solution. That unresolved gap could affect real people for years to come. Find us online at 9robes.ai. That's the number 9robes.ai. Like and share this podcast with friends that like to be informed. 9 Robes provides AI summaries of U.S. Supreme Court cases. AI makes mistakes. People make mistakes too. We genuinely do our best to provide you with the most accurate summaries, but our best sometimes includes errors.